It was a cool evening on February 19, 1994, when the emergency room at Riverside General Hospital filled with the sound of rolling gurneys and clattering instruments. Paramedics burst through the sliding doors with a woman in her early 30s, Gloria Ramirez, a resident of Riverside, a mother of two, and a cancer patient fighting for her life. At 8:15 p.m., Gloria was conscious but fading fast. Her skin was pale, her breathing shallow. The paramedics shouted vitals as nurses moved in with precision. BP dropping loud, pulse weak, oxygen at 85. They hooked her to monitors and began CPR. The room filled with the hum of machinery and sharp commands. Then came the first sign that this would be no ordinary case. When the nurses cut away Gloria's shirt, her skin shimmered under the light. A strange oily sheen glistening unnaturally. The air grew heavy with an ammonia-like metallic odor. Several staff members stepped back instinctively. "Do you smell that?" one nurse asked. Another nodded, eyes watering. Nurse Susan Kane prepared to draw blood from Gloria's arm. As the syringe filled, she frowned. Inside the vial, strange manila-colored crystals floated in the sample. They looked like glass dust. She handed the syringe to Dr. Julie Gorkinski, who leaned closer to inspect it, and suddenly froze. Her eyes went wide. "I'm dizzy," she whispered, and then collapsed. Moments later, Kane herself fell to the floor. A third nurse screamed as the metallic scent intensified. Respiratory therapist Maureen Welch, helping with intubation, staggered backward before fainting. Panic swept the ER. Doctors dragged their colleagues out into the hallway as alarms blared. The remaining team, now masked, tried desperately to save Gloria. But at 8:50 p.m., her pulse flatlined. Defibrillators fired. Nothing. At 8:59 p.m., Gloria Ramirez was declared dead. Her body lay motionless under the fluorescent lights, and the hospital around her began to unravel. Within minutes, 23 staff members fell ill. 5 were hospitalized, some unable to breathe or move. The ER was evacuated, sealed, and declared contaminated. What happened in that room would baffle scientists for decades. That night, the world met the toxic woman. Sirens wailed outside Riverside General as hazmat trucks rolled in. Within an hour, the hospital looked like a scene from a biohazard movie. Dozens of emergency personnel in protective suits cordoned off the ER, while patients were wheeled into nearby hallways under blankets. Doctors and nurses stripped, scrubbed, and sealed their uniforms in biobags. Many were trembling, nauseated, or semi-conscious. One suffered violent seizures. Another lost control of her limbs. Yet all environmental tests came back negative. No gas leaks, no radiation, no infectious agent, nothing. Meanwhile, the body of Gloria Ramirez was placed in 3 layers of plastic, sealed inside an aluminum coffin, and stored in a refrigerated isolation chamber. No one dared go near it. The following morning, local newspapers carried headlines that felt surreal. "Mystery gas knocks out hospital staff. The woman who killed with a breath." The coroner's office hesitated to conduct an autopsy. Technicians complained of headaches and dizziness even near the sealed room. For 6 days, her body remained untouched. It was as if it still radiated danger. When the autopsy finally began, doctors worked in full hazmat suits. The air reeked of sweet chemical fumes. Inside, her organs were discolored and unusually soft, especially the heart and liver. But there were no burns, no ruptures, no sign of poison ingestion. Tests revealed nothing lethal, yet everyone who had contact with her became sick. The media dubbed her the toxic lady. The public wanted answers. But the experts were just as lost. The official report listed her death as heart failure due to cancer. But that didn't explain what had happened to everyone else. Behind closed doors, the California Department of Health ordered a deeper investigation. Whatever this was, chemical, biological, or something entirely new, it had terrified an entire hospital. By March, dozens of theories flooded the press. Was it mass hysteria? A nerve agent? A chemical spill? Then came the breakthrough. A team from Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory proposed something bizarre, but possible. They believed Gloria had used dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO, a solvent sometimes applied topically to relieve pain. DMSO had a garlic-like odor, and long-term use could saturate fatty tissues. When hospital staff administered oxygen and used defibrillators, Livermore chemists theorized that DMSO could oxidize into dimethyl sulfone, DMSO2. then further transform into dimethyl sulfate, DMSO4, a deadly gas known to cause muscle paralysis and convulsions. The model fit the timeline: oxygen exposure, electrical charge, and immediate collapse of medical staff. Livermore even replicated a small-scale version of the reaction under lab conditions. For a moment, it seemed the mystery was solved, but critics pointed out that dimethyl sulfate decomposes too quickly at room temperature to linger in the air. And even if it formed, why did it affect only certain people in the ER? Those closest to Gloria, and not everyone. Still, the DMSO theory became the official government explanation. The press moved on. But inside the scientific community, doubts remained. Dr. Gorkinski, who had collapsed first, later said, "They told me it was psychological, but I couldn't walk for weeks. That wasn't panic, that was poison." The Livermore report silenced speculation, but only on paper. To the doctors who had breathed that air, nothing about Gloria Ramirez made sense. As months passed, journalists began digging deeper. Whispers surfaced that Riverside Hospital had been treating victims of methamphetamine explosions from nearby labs. Could residual chemicals in the ER's ventilation system have reacted with oxygen that night? Hospital administrators denied it. Others pointed toward a military base just 80 kilometers away, known for chemical testing. Was it possible a small leak or classified experiment had drifted into town? Government officials refused to comment. Meanwhile, strange facts emerged. The first autopsy report disappeared from official records. Tissue samples were destroyed by accident. The second autopsy, performed 10 days later, revealed that her internal organs had partially liquefied, far too fast for normal decomposition. Toxicologists handling the samples reported nightmares, dizziness, and a persistent metallic taste that lasted for days. Gloria's family accused the authorities of hiding the truth. They filed a lawsuit, claiming chemical negligence and tampering. The case was quietly dismissed. In the absence of proof, darker theories took hold. Some believed Gloria was unknowingly exposed to experimental compounds through her cancer treatment. Others insisted she had come into contact with a classified substance that altered her biology permanently. Whatever the truth, it was clear the government wanted the story buried. But whispers of the toxic woman never died. Decades have passed, but the mystery of Gloria Ramirez still hangs in medical history like a toxic cloud. No conclusive evidence, no final explanation. Only fragments, testimony, missing reports, and questions. Today, scientists view her case as one of the strangest biohazard mysteries ever recorded. Changed how hospitals handle emergencies. Every modern ER now has protocols inspired by that night. From sealed trauma bays to chemical isolation training. Her story became legend, whispered in hospitals as a warning. Remember the toxic lady? In her hometown of Riverside, few speak of her. Her gravestone at Olivewood Memorial Park is small and plain, bearing only her name, Gloria Ramirez, 1963-1994. Visitors still leave flowers, sometimes with notes asking, "What really happened to you?" For her family, the pain remains. They remember a gentle woman who loved laughter, not a chemical anomaly. Her daughter once said, "They turned my mother into a science experiment, but she was a person." Scientists still revisit the chemistry. Some new studies suggest exposure to organophosphates, nerve agents similar to sarin gas, might mimic the same symptoms. If true, the event at Riverside wasn't natural at all. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe it was a cascade of impossible reactions. Or maybe, for one brief moment, a human body became something medicine couldn't comprehend. Whatever the truth, that night left scars on the people who were there, on science, and on the memory of a woman who died and somehow poisoned the air around her. She came to the hospital for help. She left behind a legend. The world still calls her by one haunting name:
the toxic woman.